Well, we're back in this very historic room for the Albanian people. We've had hearings in this room since I was a congressman, and that goes back to the 80s. And then we had at that time Chairman Gilman. There's his picture right there. Why don't you just swing that around and focus on Chairman Ben Gilman. He was the chairman from 1994 to 2000, and he was the chair of the full committee, and everyone knows the great job he did for the Albanian people, Freedom for Kosova. Before Ben Gilman, by the way, we had a Democrat that I worked with, Dante Fasel, and that's him right there. Without Dante Fasel, we would not have had the first hearing in 1987. That was the first hearing ever for the Albanian people in Kosova. And then we had Chairman Gilman, and after Chairman Gilman, we had Chairman Hyde right here, Henry Hyde. I'm doing this because this is like a museum for the Albanian people. And when you see the tapes that we've had, this falls into place, okay? And then we had our last chairman, which is Congressman Lantos of blessed memory. He's now deceased, but we know what Tom did for the Albanian people. Without Tom and the first resolution for Kosova in 1992, we wouldn't have had it. Now, today, we continue our work for the Albanian nation, the Albanian people. We don't support any of the governments there, whether it's Albania or Kosova or you name it, where Albanians live. We support the people. That's the Albanian American Civic League. And we even sometimes go against our own State Department here when we think we're doing the wrong thing, when we think they're doing the wrong thing, as we've done in the past. And again, you'll see today by our testimony given by Shirley Cloys, by Roland Jones, and by Bob Churchill. Bob Churchill flew in from the UK. Roland Jones, originally from Albania, flew in from Dublin, where he's taking his PhD and spent many years in Kosova working. And Shirley Cloys, who's the Balkan Affairs Advisor of the Albanian American Civic League, Shirley Cloys, DioGuardi. Now, we have other members, but before we do that, because we're going to start, Bob, just say a few words in that proper English of yours from Great Britain. Just hold this right here.
Hi, my name is Bob Churchill. I'm now an independent consultant on the Balkans. I was the director of the International Crisis Group in Pristina immediately after the war and spent many years in Albania before that. I'm here today to say that, frankly, I don't regard this as a good agreement. I think this agreement should have included recognition by Serbia. Without it, I think the whole thing is meaningless. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. And Roland, thank you for flying all the way from Dublin. Put that right here.
Thanks a lot. My name is Roland Jones. I'm a doctoral researcher in nationalism, and I've worked for many years with USAID projects in the Balkans, mainly in Kosovo and Albania. And I'm here today to testify on the EU brokered agreement. And I come from a perspective where I see this as a very pragmatic, halfway solution, which does not solve the problem, does not normalize the relationship between Kosovo and Serbia, and if not followed by a very speedy and comprehensive deal between the two states as normal states, it may open up new possibilities for renewed conflict. This is why here I'm going to summarize the progress made during the EU brokered agreement. Thanks.
Thank you, Roland. And let me introduce my wife. Usually she's introduced as my wife. Today she's the Balkan Affairs Advisor of the Albanian American Civic League testifying. Put it right down here, Shirley. Thank you for all the work you've done to make this hearing happen.
Thank you, Joe. I'm very happy to be here. This is an historic week, but it's not an historic week as defined by the EU-sponsored talks that just concluded between Serbia and Kosova. And as my colleagues have pointed out, it will not bring lasting peace to the Balkans. It is a great, wonderful opportunity to be at this hearing today, to carry on the tradition of our Congress, and specifically the Committee on Foreign Affairs, from the time that Kosovo was under occupation to the time that it was attacked by the Serbian military, with many thousands who were murdered until the end of the Balkan Wars and beyond, up till today, now 13 years. It has been our Congress that has worked for real lasting peace and stability in the Balkans, opposing the European Union most of the time, and our State Department, which has been focusing on stability, not on bringing human rights and lasting peace to the region.
Thank you very much, Shirley. And before I go to some of the members of our board, because we do have a few minutes, I have to say again, as we said on the 100th anniversary of Albania in the capital, why is Washington so important for the Albanian people? Well, the flag for independence in Albania was raised on November 28, 1912, but that didn't give Albania its statehood. It was done because the U.S. President, Woodrow Wilson, decided it was time to have an Albanian state, and that was 1919. And then in 2008, after much of our hearings and rallies and going after Slobodan Milosevic, a Republican president, George W. Bush, decided to be the first to recognize an independent state called Kosova. Again, 95% Albanian. So again, the U.S. Congress and Washington played a key role for the Albanian people. Now here we have from our board, Hafiz Shala, we have Aga Malichkai, we have Zef Balai, we have Fero Jambalai, Sadre Jambalai brothers. They're from the Albanian lands in Montenegro, Plave Gusin. He's from Albania proper, northern Albania, place called Puka, near Berdita. He's from Kosova, Deçan, and he's from Kosova, Pristina. And behind us we have Albanians from Montenegro, believe it or not, originally, Albanian Americans. And there's Mars and Sulaj from the Detroit area. And we have Father Nur Georgi and Father Kalai, who came, and it's important that they're here, just like Archbishop Sopi came in 2005 to show the world that Albanians are the most tolerant people. They are Catholics, they're Christian Orthodox, they're Muslim, and even Jews still living in Albania today. And I'm happy we have representation from the Catholic community. And we have Fran Joka, also a supporter of our Civic League. And we have a couple of people who happen to be in Washington on vacation, found out that I was here, Soko Lujurai and his wife Genta, and they're here with us. So we got a nice, good grouping, and we'll hear from you after the hearing, okay? Well, we're on now the other side of the aisle. And I just want to continue introducing members of the board of the Albanian American Civic League. This is George Dedvukai. He's from Montenegro. Okay? You'll be talking after the hearing. And these young men here are Albanians from a group called Ronjet Shqiptar, which in American English means Albanian roots. Marco Kepi, one of the founders, with Irvin Turo and Adrian Tahire. So we have representation among the young Albanians here as well. And then we have, in the back there, we have Albanians from the neighborhood. This is Sabadan Gashi and his family. Even Albanians who don't live in Kosova, they're part of the Albanian nation. They speak the same language, have the same history, same culture, same traditions, living on Albanian lands, which have now been separated by realpolitik into states called Albania, Kosova, Serbia, Greece, and then you have Montenegro and Macedonia. But we're going to focus today on what is going on with the agreement that was just signed in the European Union about Serbia and Kosova, an agreement that was supposed to stabilize the future of the Balkans but may do in reverse, and that's what this hearing is all about.